You want to cuddle?
I do that with Phil Proner. Where's Phil?
Is there anybody here who doesn't know Howard? I've known Howard for a long time in a lot of different ways. Howard was an investor in the last company I founded. I knew him through StockTwits. We did, when I was at MarketWatch, we did a deal. You can still go to marketwatch.com and see StockTwits on the bottom. We did that way back when. He's been a supporter of mine. I hope I've been a supporter of his, and he is, in my opinion, I told somebody earlier, I said this because we're not raising capital anymore. There are only 2 VC funds that I think are like, really interesting, and one of them is his. Actually, neither of them are yours.
No problem.
All right, listen. What do you want to talk about? You want to say something before I start?
Welcome to my island.
Oh yeah, Howard lives here.
Yeah, I live here. So you're lucky. This is a great place. For people who've come here once, you'll come back again. I think this is like the 9th year. Is my wife here? Is Ellen here? So you can see how important this is to her. She's on the island and can't make her way over here. It's the traffic.
If you're a really successful investor, you get to live in Coronado. That's true, right, Howard?
The whole point of Coronado was to prove at the time that we could build a financial business as far away from New York City. And
or any technology resources, really.
Yeah. So it was really that idea. And we raised the kids here. We think it's a fabulous place. But now we're in Arizona for tax reasons, in case the IRS is here, 6 months and a day in Arizona. And we just love coming back. So I think it's a great place. We're already seeing pitches happen. It's a great place to mix fintech with the stock market, because in the end, StockTwits is really just a place to talk about anything related to investing. I prefer investing along the food chain, from startup to liquid late stage momentum companies. I'm an IBD's here, but I'm an IBD momentum disciple and relative strength disciple from the 80s when I first started investing. So it's cool to see how we're watching brands, whether it's Ted's here from Bloomberg or Glenn from Wall Street Journal or Dow Jones, and the team from IBD. And data companies. So it's fun to see startups mingle with this. We've cut the size down just because I think you make as much money at 500 people than 100 people, I guess, and it's just too many people.
We don't make any money on this. We do this because we like it, and that's the truth.
So there will be a tip jar on the way out.
Yeah, in fact, anything you guys can do to contribute would be great.
And if you're watching live stream, you could just send us some Monero.
You can just Bitcoin, just Venmo.
Right, so let's I want to talk about the future, because there's a lot of things happening. Last year.
Aren't I supposed to ask the questions?
You can leave.
I got more questions.
Okay,
I have deep questions.
Yeah.
I'd like to know what Ellen said when you said that the kindest thing that anyone's ever done to you was Ellen for being with you in Uber.
We weren't in a fight when I said that. So I did a podcast with Patrick O'Shaughnessy, and he asked the kindest thing that anybody's done for me, and it's generally it's been my wife and my kids, because we moved here after the financial crisis. Ellen was there when I've had failed businesses. So really, she's been holding together the family unit. So, when I'm an entrepreneur, so we take a tremendous amount of risk. Ellen has become a moderate risk taker. As a bankruptcy attorney, she sees everything end up in court and divorce. So when I show her a deal, she goes, that won't work. So she's never seen a deal that I've shown her that she thinks will work. So it's a good combination of...
She told you not to invest in even my company, right?
She said, don't just not invest in it, can you short it?
Yeah, it didn't work.
And I'm like, how do you short it?
It's doing well. She must be so pissed.
She goes, meet this guy over here. Create a derivative to short your friend over there. I said, honey, just please go walk the dog.
What are the next big trends in investing? What's social leverage doing?
Well, we're going to talk about it. So
I care.
When we talk about investing, we're 10 years behind. Meaning, luckily, like when I saw Twitter, well, first when I saw YouTube, I'm like, oh my God, CNBC. Like, I don't have to yell at the TV anymore. We can interact on YouTube and build our own channel. And I started Wall Strip. But that got acquired by CBS really quickly. And I didn't want to make content, because content's hard. As the IBD people know, and anybody who makes content, right? It's very hard to scale. The second thing, then Twitter came along, and I'm like, holy smokes, that's Bloomberg chat without all the data. So eventually Twitter is going to be Bloomberg, not totally disrupt Bloomberg. But Twitter decided they wanted to sell ads and Alex Jones premium services. And so here we are today. But so I had invested in TweetDeck and Bitly and all these companies that were going to help turn Twitter into twitter.finance.com. This is 2007. And Fred Wilson said, you should just do it yourself. And I was friends with Phil Perlman. Where's Phil? That was Phil Perlman. That's how he responded when I said, let's start Twitter for Finance. He said the exact same thing. And he was a little sweatier, and he snorted a little bit. And I said, well, that seems like a yes. Please shave. And StockTwits was born. It was born on Twitter. And then we slowly moved it off Twitter. The first 3 years, I was like, why hasn't anybody bought us? The last 3 years, it was like, we're never going to sell, because you can see the metrics and you can see the organic growth. What we know, what Ian knows, what Justin knows, what Phil knew, what Stefan knows, what Mike Bozzello knows, what StockTwits knows in its soul is that you have to constantly kick people out of the neighborhood, right? There's rules, 10 commandments may not be perfect. There's comedians that take out 7 of them right away. So how could a terms of use in a social network be 70 pages? Like, that's broken. StockTwits has had house rules that Phil drank some Manischewitz one night and grabbed a napkin and he goes, here's the rules of StockTwits. And there was a lot of spit on it, and there was a little bit of falafel, and he said, these are the rules. And I said, these are good rules. And today we basically have some rules. Listen, come to StockTwits. If you're going to be mean, you better be really fucking funny, or you're gone and you can start again. And just those basic things, I think, have helped us see that organic growth. And that just takes time. And that's helped us teach other, for me in fintech investing, it's helped me be a better fintech investor, because I know you can't lie to me. If you're going to build a good fintech company, look at Bloomberg, 40, 50 years. Look at Dow Jones. If you're going to build a big fintech media / communications company, data business, it's 20 years. It's not Instagram, 12 people, $1 billion. Now, what's exciting, long story short here, is Robinhood is the first company to be an overnight success in the financial industry, because Venmo took 10 years. PayPal took forever. Square, another fast one. Square, Coinbase, and Robinhood. Those companies have reimagined what I thought would happen 10 years ago, 12 years ago with Twitter. So where we sit, if you can just take your skeptical hat off for a minute, is people can talk about, these things won't work. They did work. There's close to 30 million new users between Coinbase, eToro, Robinhood, Stash, Acorn, StockTwits that really just want to know things. And they're not going to have 3 screens on their desk, and they're not going to have a broker. They're going to have their group chats, whether it's Telegram, StockTwits, Snapchat, and they're going to take their ideas, they're going to send them with their short, small groups, StockTwits rooms, and they're going to come up with decisions. And the barriers are down, the walls are down, commissions are free, right? StockTwits has its, Robinhood created like a whole new level playing field. So we're at day 1 of this. The next thing that comes is fractional. Bitcoin's done a bad job of like marketing the idea of fractional, but they got everybody thinking about pennies and nickels. And they got everybody thinking about trading 24/7 and about not having a financial news station wrapped around it. So really, Bitcoin's done the trading world a favor. We can make fun of it, and whether it's going to zero or how many fake ICOs they are. But they learn very quickly that unregulated markets, you get exactly what you deserve. A lot of scams. We know what it's called. It's called the NASDAQ Bulletin Board. So that's happened in hyperspeed. And so what's going to become cool, and Lowenstein's here, securities attorneys, is broker-dealers went from being uncool and things you were taught at at a young age to stay away from, to being table stakes. Meaning, why should I do a token when I could actually have a FINRA SEC-approved broker-dealer? So Robinhood help bring that back into vogue and use software. And Robinhood's 150 to 200 employees with a $6 billion market cap that really, and still 90% of my assets are at Schwab and Morgan Stanley. So I don't look at it as Robinhood overvalued or StockTwits undervalued or overvalued. I look at it as they're $6 billion and they're loved and they're not even, they haven't even started yet.
But tie back the fractional to Bitcoin, because you were making a point there, which I got, but I'm not sure everyone caught. Because Bitcoin and crypto is basically the ability to invest in dollars for people 24/7 became, like, that is the thing that you couldn't really do. I think that's what you're saying.
Yeah, that's the thing you can do. Right now, like, Vanguard wins. That's why I never like robo-advisors. Is there any robo-advisors here? Can you please leave? You're wasting everybody's time. I'm just kidding. But it needs to be 10 times better. What made Robinhood 10 times better, and I'm not that smart, because when I sat in the meeting with Robinhood, they were like, they showed me the app, and I go, this is genius. And they go, it's going to be free. And I said, hey, time out. You could charge $1.99. And they looked at me, and they were wearing Google glasses, and they go, sure, Howard. And they ended the meeting, never listened to me, but at least accepted my money. So nobody really knows, even I didn't see free as the happening. Where we go with fractional, is the fact that I come on to StockTwits, I follow Ian or Howard or Justin or somebody that I really like, or JC, and I have $300, okay? And investing is like a privilege, first of all, just like social networks are a privilege. You're not your goddamn right. But if it's a privilege and people want to do it, they should be able to do it. And to do that, we needed fractional ownership. And the public companies have caught on. Amazon's never going to split their stock because they don't want day traders and they don't want retail investors. They're happy dealing with 3 shareholders, BlackRock. And so this thing has to come unwound because the game is being played by Amazon, Salesforce. You know, in 99, these companies would split every 3 weeks to get their shareholder base broader. Now they realize they can get whatever they want done if Vanguard and BlackRock are on their board or are the only ones voting their rights.
And investors and shareholders are pains in the neck.
Of this. And it's going to come from the army of women and men that are coming on board and buying $40 worth of Amazon. And so we are at day one. So that's what gets me excited. That's why I guess I'm excited that Ian and team kept Stocktoberfest going. But that, I think fractional and broker dealers being cool again, like, or not cool, but like table stakes, hard work, and the fact that customers are everywhere and you got to build trust, and there's all these new ways to wedge into trust, as we're seeing old companies or older companies build, doing like what the poker companies used to do, what IBD is, they're creating like rapport with the top people in the community to just talk about their brand. Like, we haven't figured out the business model to get it, but you're not just going to go be able to put ads on Facebook and get 100,000 users anymore, because as we've seen, Facebook and Google control that inventory, and they've learned to price it to the point where the game is over. The arbitrage is not as easy as it once was. So to be able to grow organically like StockTwits is magic, and we can't lie, I guess. We can lie to ourselves, but organic traffic is the weirdest, hardest thing, and it comes from doing one thing well over and over. And Google rewards people that do honest, good linking and work over and over again.
What's social leverage looking at now, and why?
Social leverage, I have 2 partners, Tom and Gary. Where's Tom? We have an app called Tom. Yeah, he does everything. And so I create a lot of messes, and someone complains to me. I go, we have an app called Tom. And so Tom and I have been partners since college. We've done hundreds of deals together. 2 have worked, but that's all that matters in our business. And so we went to ASU together, and we're on our 3rd fund. This fund's a $50 million fund. Our first fund was $6 million. We invested in Robinhood, ChartIQ, DataFox that just sold to Oracle, a lot of great companies. And Fund 2 also invested in Robinhood, and we invested in a company called Civic, a couple of crypto companies. We invested in a company called Customer, and WAG, dog walking service. So we have a couple $1 billion companies in Fund 2, and we're first checks into most companies. And then Fund 3 has more of the same. We have, I think CoinMine's in the room. They're stealth. They launch in 2 weeks, coinmine.com. If you're going to be blown away.
They're stealth. You got like 10,000 people on this live stream.
Okay, just take that out. Hey, live people, don't tweet that. Well, luckily no one's watching. But the website's up, so don't worry. But it's one of the most fascinating attacks and angles of attack on the crypto industry. So I'm really excited to be investors in that. And then we invest in a company called SecFi, which you'll be hearing about over the years, an incredible company, another company called Rally Road. So we're looking for financial service companies, new wedges into the game in a world that Robinhood, Coinbase, eToro exist. We think the 1% that financial advisors are charging still needs to be disrupted, a la Robinhood doing. So we think there's a lot of fluff still in the system. So as much as I love my friends in the financial advisor industry who gloat that they are, the wirehouses are dying, I also think the 1% should go away. So we're in an era where these younger people are going to get educated. And our real goal at Social Leverage on the financial side, Gary and Tom invest in real estate and software and enterprise software, is that we are teaching people English. We are trying to make the finance a language, and not a language like present value and et cetera, a language of socially connecting with smart people in fintech, trying to understand profits and losses and risk and reward, and finding people that you can mentor from and learn this language. Because if you learn this language, 30 years ago, your parents told you to be, or 40 years you had to be a lawyer. 30, 20, 10 years ago, you got to learn Spanish or Chinese to get a really good job. I believe wholeheartedly that the American next generation will be an investing class. You know, as the robots take over and the robo-advisors disappear, we are going to want our kids to be able to manage assets and to put capital to productive use. So the faster they learn the language of investing, the faster you put money in their hands to piss away or to earn money, to learn by doing, then that's where we're headed. So I'm super bullish on that. And that's what we're doing with our kids and opening accounts. We tell young people that work for us, open a Robinhood account, go on StockTwits, pick a list, lose some money. Second thing is you're going to lose money. So this is a great market. People are learning that the markets don't go up every day.
So to that point, how do you think about investing yourself, not angel and VC investing, but talk about 8 to 80, the big trends that you're seeing right now?
Yeah, myself, I'm high cash, just to be honest, because I'd have so much risk in early stage investing. So for me, I play a trader on TV, meaning I am addicted to two ends of the barbell. I want the highest alpha I can get, and that comes from being in very illiquid things and then very momentum-based, overpriced, overvalued, liquid, 100 of the most liquid names that have the most momentum. So I have this barbell approach where I'm investing as early as possible in companies that I think can have explosive growth over years and the smartest people. And then in the public markets, as a proxy, I'm looking, for example, at the IBD 100, I'm looking at the 100 highest relative strength stocks and riding trends as long as I can based on my own hypotheses and catalysts that I see, but just basically a price momentum model. But it provides me immense liquidity, and everything in between is just cash in our home. So that's kind of how I invest. And what I see in the future is, if you love the internet, and I think you can be highly diversified by owning all software companies. The more software that you can own, the better. And I think the other big trend that I talk about is fashion and technology, so fashology. Wall Street calls it athleisure, which is dumb, but that's Wall Street's job. But fashology is this melding of, I love Lulu. Like, I'll buy Apple products at the Lulu store. We see it already where Lulu's opening stores next to Apple stores, right? Everybody's crowding around Apple because Apple is the first technology fashion company, and they're a luxury brand. So expect to see when you go to the mall over the next 10 years, because the mall will be reimagined, all the best. You can basically buy all the smart brands that are camping out. They're the new grocery store, right? Like, they're the grocery store of a shopping mall, Apple, meaning wherever they go, the best stores that want to be the best brands or already have the best traction opening there, and generally fashion. So fashion meets technology. Nike, Lulu, it was Oakley back in the day. They got bought, but they think this fashion category using Instagram and customer acquisition through social and through influencers and pop-up stores, we're going to see so many new fashion brands. And then food, I guess, but that's a little more cyclical.
With respect to either the public market investing or your private investments, what are the biggest fears? What's your biggest worry about that? What's going to go wrong?
Just my hairline. I'm getting to an age where...
What hairline?
It just changes every day, and I just spend a lot of time worried about my age. I just think the grind of it is like, what was the question?
I don't know. What are you worried about?
I'm not worried about anything. Like, first of all, I'm perfectly medicated right now.
What are you on?
A little bit of Adderall, and with a stockpile Ambien by my bed, so I know when I'm going to sleep tonight, which relieves a lot of stress.
Does everyone remember when Howard tweeted that he would hear a startup pitch for anyone that brought him an Ambien in New York?
Yeah, I've done that.
True story.
And I like to take certain pitches very early the following morning after an Ambien, the ones that like I don't think I'm going to like, but like I've been persistent, because I tell my wife if I remember the pitch that night, that's a good sign. So if you get asked to pitch me at like 6 in the morning, that may not be the best time.
I hope all
to
future
pitch me.
founders are listening to this.
Yeah,
You just want to make sure Howard remembers you.
That was my little Oreo thing. What was the movie with where you give up your move?
Oh yeah, that was KGB and Rounders.
Yeah,
so
that's my kind of killer move. But I'm not really nervous. I think we have a great network to it, social leverage. We have StockTwits. We have this hidden ace in the hole, meaning we look at the StockTwits data like nobody else looks at the data, not illegally, just we read the data the way we like to read the data, and we have a vision of what the next generation. I joke, but my wife and I own and operate 2 millennials, so we have a little bit of an edge in how we think this next generation thinks, and then we have events like this where people bring us products, and we try and use cool products and see what's going to happen. But I'm not really nervous. I'm nervous for people that aren't respecting the markets, because they look up to us, they see us buy something, and they don't really understand that markets go down. So I'm more nervous for other people than I am for myself.
What's your favorite StockTwits bug that we haven't gotten around to fixing yet?
Oh, fuck. All right.
You might not have to answer that, Chris. I actually want to hear the answer to this. We don't. Howard has a lot of issues, and we don't fix any of them. I want to know what the biggest one is.
Biggest one, I think I would say onboarding. I think we have to do a better job. It's not so much a bug. It's like get your heads out of your ass, Team StockTwits, and like no, I'm kidding. So I think it's the whole way the first experience with StockTwits. That's not a bug. We have to onboard people in a friendlier, more interesting way, so that their first experience. And every company has this, where their first experience is like, oh, I get it. If not, put a big 800 number on the site that
we're going to ring it right to your cell phone.
That goes to your phone. No. But I think like a la Bloomberg, I'm in the old school where like, fuck, put a phone number. Like I used to say this with Twitter. Why don't you put 600 people in a room and help people onboard them onto Twitter, because people love the product. You just got to tell them how to use it. And I would say the same thing with StockTwits. We have to do a better job every day with product, with people of...
You know how hard it is to be a CEO of a company where the founder of the company and the chairman of the board is also the biggest user of the product?
Yeah.
I wake up every morning to like 6 things. Like Howard's like, man, this is all
I'll
broken.
stop. But
wait. I have one more question. This is a serious one. How do you think... I mean, obviously you have been a...
Boxers? Oh.
We'll get back to that.
Tried to guess.
We talk about, I mean, look, the change that we are making, that we have made with respect to rooms and the democratization of the hierarchy of StockTwits' organization is probably the biggest shift the company has made since it moved off of Twitter, which is long before my time. Just talk about rooms for like 1 second.
I hope he likes rooms. It's like from the movies. Get a room. Well, I think Justin Paterno. Where's Justin?
He's wearing a sport jacket somewhere.
All right, so Justin in the back, really, he's been there since day one, smoking cigarettes and really engaging with the community.
He stopped smoking for a while, but I actually consider it a good thing. He started it again because he's really stressed because he's working really hard.
So I think at StockTwits, there's a fine line where people are in charge of the community, and if they stay in charge too long, they become the person we all hate. And so we've only lost 2 people to the dark side. But Justin's managed for 10 years to walk the line of talking to the crazies, talking to our loved users, talking to the people who just show up to, make your life miserable, and talking to the future great contributors. And I think what we've learned, and I'm going to talk to Brian next, is the product people know the most, right? As CEO, one thing, the VC's another thing, but what makes company's great is constant innovation around the product and people that understand the flow of where people move. So I think Rooms is just an evolution. In the beginning days, because when I founded it, I'm not a product guy, I would say, look what those guys are doing on TechCrunch, let's add that feature. And I think as we've matured, as Justin's matured, he really understands where StockTwits should go. And Rooms is a really beautiful idea of allowing our users to do what our good users to build their own business on
They're
top
good.
of us.
Although one of them emailed the whole team to say that I wasn't smart enough to have ever worked at Goldman. That was a good one.
It's just a next layer of people being able to just have conversations if they're bothered by the stream. Meaning, we're just moving traffic, right? Overflow things, and we're giving people choices. Phil, myself, Justin, at the beginning, we were building communities on WordPress, but it was adding traffic to other sites. It's a very complicated process. So I think Rooms is an elegant attack at expanding our audience and using our users to help us grow organically at the next concentric circle.
All right, listen, you and I can keep talking somewhere else, but
Yeah.
I think, so we're done here, but I think you're gonna chat with Brian, right? All right, is that what's next? Okay.